Hello vinyl community and everyone else watching this. I'm back again with my second video in my I can't even speak, just a theory series. And these are just ideas I have that I run with. And feel free to disagree, feel free to correct me. I don't have notes. I'm just going from the top of my head with a thought. And I'm not even sure what I'm calling this video as of making this right now. I can't seem to come up with a title that's short enough. But before I start, I hope everybody's well. Hope everybody's doing their thing, hanging out, just getting through everything that we're going through. So, this video, it's basically called, it's not basically called this, but the concept is, what if the Beatles never went to Hamburg, Germany? How important was the Beatles going to Hamburg, Germany? And I'm not even just talking about the Beatles' career. I'm talking about the entire music spectrum from 1962 onward. Because my theory is that the Beatles going to Hamburg changed everything. And having changed everything, we have no idea what it would be like if they didn't. And you can speculate on that all day long. I'm not going to do that here because it's endless. It's an endless tunnel. You can go down and dig and dig and dig and dig, and you don't know. Well, you can easily say, well, the Stones would have been the big band, and then maybe things would have been more blues influenced. But it was little kids liking the Stones, or liking the Beatles, and college kids liking the Stones. So that doesn't really work. And there's a billion scenarios, and who knows? Because the Beatles, I don't think, would have made it if they didn't go to Hamburg, and for several reasons. So the Beatles, drummerless as always, finally asked Pete Best to be their drummer because they got asked to go to Hamburg. That's basically the story. I might have it slightly wrong. Pete might have already been their drummer for a little tiny bit. I'm not sure. But anyway, they grabbed Pete. I think somebody canceled, but I don't know who. And I think that's how they got the gig. I forget the guy's name. He's very famous, a big guy. And it was the Endear Club, I think. Anyway, Bruno, I think. Hosfeller or something. Called them up and said, okay, I've had a cancellation basically. You boys want to come? Yes. And off they went to Hamburg. Now, they hadn't been having a lot of success in Liverpool. And this is the thing that people forget. I mean, they had a small group of fans, but nothing like, what would eventually happen. They weren't even. Rory Storm and the Hurricanes were the biggest group in Liverpool, not the Beatles. The Beatles might have been top 5 maybe, and it was Liverpool. It wasn't London. It wasn't. It was Liverpool. So the Beatles trek off to Hamburg, and a couple of things happen. A bunch of things happen that are very, very important. First of all, they got put in horrid conditions, living conditions, and were forced to play a long time. Sources vary on how long, but probably 8 hours a day would be the minimum, and it may be as many as 12, maybe even more. So what happened? Well, they didn't have any spare time, basically, very little spare time. They were playing all the time. But they weren't just playing, they were rehearsing. And they were getting better, and they were getting better, and they were getting better. And they got, the more people that came in the door, the happier the manager was, and the more he was likely to pay them, feed them. So the idea was play your best, get people in the door, act like you're rocking out and rock out, and in come the people, and everybody's happy. So Beatles did this, and did this, and then it was great. And it worked, and the crowds came in, and they were liked, and they got better, and they got better, and they got better. And that's very, very important. They also met Klaus Voormann, who introduced them to Astrid Kirchner, who eventually, the story goes, it happened in Paris, but again, it was somebody that they met in Germany. I forget who actually did the haircut. But it was a friend of Klaus's, I think. They met him in Paris. They knew him, and they ran into him in Paris on a weekend, and he cut their hair like his, and they came back, and it was just John and Paul, and George and Pete laughed at him, but George got the haircut. Pete refused. That's important too, by the way. And now they had new funky haircuts. That's important. Now they were different. They had these Beatle haircuts. They were popular in Hamburg. Then they get deported. Well, George gets deported, and then John gets deported, and Paul and Ringo go home, or vice. Maybe Paul got deported. I can't remember. Not Ringo, but Paul and Pete, George and Pete. Whoever. Again, I'm doing this off the cuff, but I know the basis of the story. And they come back from Hamburg to Liverpool, and they're better now. So what do? They try to get some gigs. And they get some gigs now because they're better. They're good now. Much better than they were. And they get a gig at the Cavern playing lunchtime shows. And they're doing the same thing. They're trying to get people in the door. And the marquee, this is important. This is one of the reasons it's important that they went to Germany. The marquee in the advertising says the Beatles directly from Hamburg at the Cavern Club. So the kids at first think they're German. And they know the German bands are good, and that's part of the reason they go in. So that helped them. The fact that they played Germany and people thought they were German actually helped them. Also, while they were in Germany, they had met Bert Kaempfert and Tony Sheridan, and they cut an album with Tony Sheridan, Bert Kaempfert producing. And, you know, no big deal. They didn't think too much of it, but it is the first John Lennon vocal, and she's sweet, and they wrote an instrumental, Cry for a Shadow. But, so they did have 2 full tracks of their own on this album. Anyway, then they're getting popular in Liverpool now. And then what happens? Then they decide to go back to Hamburg again for another stint. This time, the best place. And they're a smash there. And they come back. And at some point, I don't know if while they're gone or whatever, but famously somebody goes into Brian Epstein's NEM shop and asks for the My Bonnie single that the Beatles had cut with Tony Sheridan in Germany. Brian Epstein orders it, plays it, goes down to the Cavern, meets them, signs them, and the rest is history. Now, none of this would have happened if they didn't go to Germany. Brian Epstein never would have heard of them. Neither would anybody else. They wouldn't have gotten better. They wouldn't have gotten crowds, even if they get the gig at the Cavern. That sign, especially the first couple weeks from Hamburg, Germany, the Beatles helped. The advertising helped. All of this stuff pulled together got the Beatles in the door at Decca, and then eventually EMI and George Martin and everything else because of George Martin and because they'd gotten so much better. So it comes down to, after all of that, what if they didn't do that? What if the Beatles didn't go to Hamburg, were never discovered, we're just a local Liverpool band like so many others, You know, maybe they eventually would have gotten discovered, but somebody else might have beat them to it. And who knows, would there have even been a British invasion? I don't know. Maybe. I'm not saying there's not, but we don't know. We can't know. So that's basically my theory on this one, is we would be living in possibly a very different musical landscaped world had the Beatles not gone to Hamburg, Germany. Now you can, this is the butterfly effect, okay? You can say that about almost anything, and I get that. But sometimes it's just interesting to think about this stuff. You know, the little things, how one little decision can affect your whole life. And not only your whole life, but the life of others. And in the Beatles' case, pretty much the lives of, you know, a good deal of the world. It's pretty astonishing that, you know, one little choice, one little decision can do that. And that's about it. And I know I got a lot of facts wrong, and I know I missed stuff, and feel free to correct me in the comments. You will anyway. But that's it. Just what would happen? We don't know. But so I guess I'm going to call the video something like, how important was Hamburg? Something like that. I don't know. But anyway, that's what I got this time. Oh, and I did want to, well, I'm here, I might as well show a record. I mean, this is a vinyl channel. So this is the Beatles Live at the Star Club. Came out in '77, I think, on Song out of Germany. This is definitely a German copy. It's got a slick cover. It's on the, actually the Bellafon label. This came out on Song and Bellafon. I think Bellafon might have been first, and this might be the superior one. I'm not sure. There's so many of these things. I have like a dozen of them, but I just thought I'd show. This is the important one. So this right here, despite nobody liking it when it came out, changed history, in my opinion, vastly. That's it. That's my video. Check out my podcast, snapcracklepop.podomatic.com. Once again, I hope you're all doing well, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching, taking the time, and I'll see you later. Bye.